Hi guys, welcome to Vic and Vern Sports Channel and welcome to Across the Pond, the weekly show all about North American sports. My name is Vic and I hope we're going to have a great show together. I can see a few people in the chat, that is always good to have. But hey, listen here, guys, thanks for joining. Been a big weekend on the other side of the Atlantic. If you're asking why I'm saying the other side of the Atlantic, because I'm based in Europe and that's why it's called Across the Pond. So guys, let's have a look what's coming up today on the show. There you go. Today's topics. The World Series, obviously, got to talk about it. It's going into the final stretch and it's really exciting. Then every week we highlight one of the US states and all the sports professional teams that are in that state and a little bit of information. This week it is Illinois. It was requested by one of our subscribers, Amanda Jackson. So Amanda, thank you for that. We've done Florida already. We've done New York. This week it's Illinois. Next week it is California, baby, if I've got that correct. Let me just check because I don't want to stand on anybody's toes. What did I say next week? To California. So yeah, big show next week because California is big. Lots of teams in California to get through, man. And then, of course, just a quick update on the NBA scandal that's going on. Well, I call it the sports scandal. It's not actually an NBA. I think it's going to widen. Then we'll get into all the results, tables, statistics, everything from the NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball, and the NBA. We'll talk a little bit of NASCAR because it is going into the final race of the season. 4 drivers can still win the championship. Put it out there, 4 like that. Use this hand. And then, of course, NCAA. College football, it's also the playoffs, not too far away. Still a few months to go, but we're going to have a quick preview about that. So let's start at the beginning. There you go. First of all, put a heart out there for everybody that has subscribed to the channel. We had 103,380. It just switched again. So that's fantastic. So let me just let you know. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button. If you have anything else you would like to tell us about, emails on top here, as you can read, vicandvernsportchat@gmail.com. So please feel free to contact anytime you like. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. And there's only one place to start because the World Series is going into Game 5 and it's tied 2-2. Let's have a look at that. Look, first 2 games were played in Toronto. There, the Dodgers lost the first 4-11. I'm just going to go through that, let you know who started those games as the pitcher. So we had Snell against Trey Yesavage against Mr. Snell, and then against Blake Snell to be precise. Then the Dodgers bounced back. They beat Toronto in Game 2. That was a 5-1 win. There, Yamamoto pitched against Gosman. There, the guy's name. Yamamoto, he didn't even get replaced the whole game. He pitched all 9 innings for the Dodgers. So they were tied at 1-1 going to LA. And then in an epic Game 3, 17 innings. Unbelievable. Second longest game in the history of the World Series. The LA Dodgers snuck past the Blue Jays 6-5. Was looking really good. Everybody knew Game 4 must win for the Toronto Blue Jays. They turned up in Game 4. The starters let me just tell you about the starters in Game 3. The pitching starters, that was Scherzer and Glasnow. Then in Game 4, Ohtani started against Bieber, and Bieber was sensational. Ohtani gave up a few runs there. So we are tied at 2-2. And look, possible Game 7 is on the cards. Depending on what happens now in 5 and 6. Dodgers have got the last home game coming up tonight against the Blue Jays. I think must win for the Dodgers because if you lose this one, are you going to win 2 straight in Toronto? Most probably not. So big game for the Dodgers tonight at home. Let me tell you who's starting there. For the Blue Jays, it's Trey Yesavage starting, the starter from Game 1. Both starters from Game 1 are starting again. And for the Yankees, it's Blake Snell starting. So look, big game. I'm going to try to watch a little bit of that if I can. I think it's going to be interesting. I still got the Dodgers winning this one. I still got the Dodgers winning the World Series. Then let's just have a look a little bit at the statistics. This is your stats for the hitting in the World Series there. Look, home runs, always the most important thing. Everybody likes it. Ohtani's at 3 home runs in the World Series already. Kirk, he's at 2. Bagger had 1. Freeman 1. Guerrero 1. Hernandez 1. Muncy 1. Will Smith, not the guy that slaps other people at the Oscars, he had 1, and Varsha also had 1. So looking very good there for all these guys. But you know, I always think it comes down to this, and that's the pitching. And the pitching has been sensational. I mean, look, in game 3, they went 17 innings. I mean, they just emptied those bullpens. I mean, they had people pitching from left, right, and center. 17 innings. What a game that was. What a game that was. So let's look forward to game 5 tonight. I'll update you tomorrow morning on the Daily Sports Update Show. That always comes out at 7 o'clock every morning Central European time. I'll let you know who won game 5. Then we move over to introducing the state of Illinois to you before we get into all the other results. Look, maybe people recognize this fountain in the background. Yeah, this is one of the iconic fountains in the city of Chicago. And if you're about my age and you remember the TV series Married with Children, Al Bundy, that was always the opening scene, was that beautiful fountain that always came along, you know. Al Bundy, there you go. Not a lot of you young people will know who that is. The capital, let me put it out there. I'm disappearing. The capital of Illinois is not Chicago, but it is Springfield. Springfield, Illinois. The home of Homer Simpson. I don't know if Homer comes in. He lives in Springfield as well, you know. So let's have a look there. So Springfield, beautiful place. Capital city of Illinois. Illinois was admitted to the Union in 1818, so 200 years ago. Chicago, the biggest city there. Let's have a little picture of Chicago there. Chicago is the biggest city, beautiful there, with the waterways going through Chicago. Obviously, it's on the big lakes. Lies on Lake Michigan, to be precise. Let's have a look there. I'll show you the lakefront there. That's some mucho dinero's real estate out there if you want to live on that part of the Illinois coast. 12.5 million people. So yeah, the nickname for Chicago is obviously the Windy City. That comes because of the wind coming off the lake. But that's just a little bit too. Tallest building, the Sears Tower once was the tallest building in the world. No longer, but big. You can't miss it if you're in Chicago. That's the building everybody sees from every angle in Chicago. It's kind of cool because if you're in Chicago, you just got to always know, am I left of the Sears building? Am I right? Is it behind me, in front of me? You always find your way home. Best place to go is have a hotel next to the Sears building. You'll never lose your way. So let's get into those sports teams. And I mean, there's only one place to start. That's for me, being a basketball fan. You got to start with the Chicago Bulls. I mean, look, iconic basketball team, won 6 championships. How can we forget with this man, Michael Air Jordan, his airness himself? For me, still the greatest basketball player ever to play. I know the younger generation look at LeBron and them, but for me, Michael's still the greatest of all times. Not just what he did for Chicago, but what he did for the world of basketball. Never forget the Olympics in Barcelona in 1992. Him and all his teammates, the Dream Team, Magic, and all the boys, they put basketball worldwide on the freaking map. So, played a big role in that. But I don't want to forget his 2 congenial partners there. Scottie Pippen had a big part to play in that. And so did obviously the coach, Phil Jackson. Plenty of other players we could mention. But the Chicago Bulls, definitely an iconic franchise in the US. I remember that beautiful intro music from the Parsons Project, I think it was. So yeah, great stuff there. Then, of course, they got some great baseball teams in Chicago. On the one hand, you have the Cubbies, iconic stadium they play in at Wrigley Field. Talk about the Cubs, you got to talk about Ernie Banks. What a player Ernie Banks was for the Chicago Cubs. And then, of course, more in my lifetime, Sammy Sosa. That boy could hit the ball out the park. What a player Sammy Sosa was. But there's a second team. And whoa. The Cubbies. Let me just have a look there. The Cubs did win 3 World series. It took them 108 years between their second and their third one. But yeah, Cubbies, they've won 3 World Series. So have the White Sox. That is the other team. Let me just make sure I get it there. The White Sox, that is the other baseball team out of Chicago. Chicago's got 2 baseball teams. I mean, they got some iconic players there like Frank Thomas. Good afternoon, Vic. Will you do Liverpool? No, I can't do Liverpool and Palace tonight. Can't do that, sorry. Frank Thomas, what a slugger Frank Thomas was. Then, I mean, in this day and age, we're talking about the betting scandal and stuff like that in the NBA. Now, how can we forget the Chicago Black Sox? Well, they were actually the Chicago White Sox, but their nickname were the Black Sox. They won the World Series in, I think it was 1916. And then they were the big favorites in 1917. And all of a sudden, they started losing suspiciously a lot in the World Series. And it was never proven that they were guilty, but 8 players were banned for life, even they had no proof of it. Sounds like Jan-Henrik Wessels. And then, of course, you have the Chicago Bears, iconic NFL team. I mean, they've got some superstars in their team there. I mean, how can you forget this man, Coach Mike Dick, always had those beautiful sunglasses and a cigar around him. Even played for the team. Then, of course, the man himself, Walter Payton. Now, a lot of the younger kids won't know who Walter Payton is. Sensational NFL player. Even to this day, there's an award every year that gets given out to the best, to the player in the NFL that does the most for charity and stuff like that. It's called the Walter Payton Award. So named after Walter Payton. And then one of my favorite players, had to put it out there, the fridge, William Perry. I mean, the man was built like a fridge. He could tackle like a... if he tackled you, you felt like you should go to the fridge. Great football player there. Then, of course, you do have... and I got to tell you that in the NFL, the Bears have won 1 championship. Then we move on to the NHL, and we have the Chicago Blackhawks. Iconic, baby. Iconic. Won 6 Stanley Cups already. Hi, Peter. Their greatest star for me ever, it's always just my opinion, guys, is Bobby Hall. Famous with his blonde hair when he was a player. Never wore a helmet. Never wore a helmet in those olden days. Then, of course, the iconic goalkeeper that is Ed Belfour. What a goalkeeper. Maybe one of the 5 best goalkeepers ever to play in the NHL. And then today they have Conrad Bedard, young up-and-coming player. He's the future of the Chicago Blackhawks. Let's hope they can keep hold of him. Looks like this guy's going to have a stellar career. Then, of course, we do have women's sports in Chicago. I didn't forget you, ladies. The Chicago Sky, WNBA. Their iconic player, obviously, you can't get past Candace Parker. She used to play for the Sky. I mean, her accolades, you could just go on for a week. What this lady has all done in basketball. And today, their new star, very controversial sometimes, Angel Reese. She and Caitlin Clark seem to be going at it. Something good for the NBA, I think, that rivalry. Everybody's talking about it, so well done to them. Then they do have Major League Soccer, MLS. They got the Chicago Fire. And I know Vern and Ryan are going to be happy about this because there is a guy that played for them. Xherdan Shaqiri, yeah, the Swiss guy, maybe one of their most famous players to play for the Chicago Fire. Great stuff there, Xherdan Shaqiri. They have another team called the Chicago Stars, also in the MLS. And hey, wow, man, they have a rugby team known as the Chicago Hounds Rugby. Didn't get any of their star players yet, They haven't had an Andre Pollard or a Jonah Lomo or somebody like that play for them. But I think the American rugby will come soon. It'll start picking up. So that is the state of Illinois. Let you, make your own decisions on what you think. Which state has been the best so far? We've had New York, we've had Florida, and we've had Illinois. I'd actually say it's probably New York won the most titles. Obviously, they got the Yankees there, so they've won a lot of titles there. But that's just me introducing the state of Illinois. Don't forget, next week it will be the state of California. Previous comment, Vic. I don't do cricket during the show, man. I know the South African woman one. Well done to them. I don't give a hoot's ass about cricket right now. So then we move into the NFL. And those are the results from last week. The last one was the Monday night game there between the Commanders and the Chiefs. Comfortable win for the Chiefs. Check out all the results. I'm not going to go through them. We do them every morning on the morning show. But what I do want to get into is all the divisions and stuff like that. So let's start off in the AFC. We'll start with the East. Yes, baby. My Patriots on top. 6 games, 2 losses ahead of the Bills. So yeah, I'm rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs next week because I want them to beat the Bills. But I think both teams got a good chance for the playoffs. The Dolphins and the Jets are not making the playoffs. We'll have a look at the playoff tree afterwards. Pittsburgh doing well there in the AFC North. And then Cincinnati 3-5. Baltimore just won us their second game 2-5. I still believe... No, I'm not joking because I'm lying here. I still believe Baltimore could make the playoffs if they get their star quarterback back. Then in the AFC South and West, it looks like this. Indianapolis, the team of the hour at the moment. You'll see when I go through the stats of the players. I mean, they're doing really well. Jacksonville, starting to stutter a little bit. And then in the AFC West, that's a tight one. You got the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Chiefs all vying for that top spot. I think 2 teams are going to make it out of this division to the playoffs. Let's see which 2. I don't think all 3 will make it. Then we move into the NFC. Wow, I got something wrong there. Well, we'll do the NFC South quickly. The NFC South got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers doing really well at the moment, and the Seattle Seahawks in the West doing well, but that's a tight one. Seahawks, Rams, and San Francisco all got the same win record, all won 5 games. Now I've got to see why I messed up there a little bit quickly, because I've got I am so psyched about my Patriots. I put them up twice, but I'm actually looking for the NFC, so let me go see if I can find the NFC quickly for you guys. It should be around here somewhere, because NFC, and we got AFC, NFC South. Yeah, well, AFC. I got the AFC about 10 times, but I don't have the NFC. Oh, well, don't have the NFC. We'll do it later. Don't worry about that. And so that is kind of the tables at the moment. Let's have a look at the playoff picture before we get into the stats. If the playoffs would be tomorrow, this is the standings. The 2 top teams of each division would get a bye. And the Chiefs, Patriots would be facing each other. Damn. Broncos, Chargers, Bills, Steelers on the one side. Eagles would have to play the 49ers. The Buccaneers, the Rams, and the Seahawks, the Lions. So, it would be really interesting if the playoffs started next week. But we've got a few weeks to go. So let's look up what's coming up this week. It is week 9 in the NFL. Some interesting games. I think the standout game has got to be the Chiefs-Bills game there. That's going to be very, very interesting. Panthers, Packers, Lions, Vikings. A lot of rival games here. My Patriots against the Falcons should be interesting as well. There's 4 teams with a bye. The Eagles, the Buccaneers, the Jets, and the Browns. They are not playing on the weekend. They have their bye week this week. Every NFL team gets a bye week. Don't worry about that. So let's go into some of the stats here we'll start with the QBs. And at the moment, Justin Herbert got the most yards in the NFL with 2,140. Got 16 touchdowns as well. Patrick Mahomes has 17 touchdowns. Stafford has 17 touchdowns. At the moment, look, even old Drake May there from my team, MVP candidate. Look, talking about MVP candidates. We all know it's always a quarterback always wins it, which I don't think is correct, because I think Jonathan Taylor is looking sensational there. That's the good reason that the Colts are on top of their division. This is the rushing yards. He's leading the rushing yards with 850 rushing yards already. On the receiving front, you got Jamar Chase. I mean, the man's playing without his star quarterback, but I've got to give it to Joe Flacco. He's backed up Joe Burrows really well. So Jamar Chase there, 700 yards already. Got a load of touchdowns, doing really well. I'd like to see somebody else than a quarterback win the MVP this year. We're not going to forget the defense. Definitely not going to get for defense. And Kevin Bayard and Devin Lloyd, they've got the most interceptions this season, each 4. So check out all your favorite players. And then, of course, sacks are very important in the NFL. And top sack guy is Brian Burns. He's got 10 sacks with Myles Garrett. And my Myles Garrett's an animal. I watched his game for the other day, and he was not happy when he was substituted. There you go. So that's your NFL roundup. So we'll move quickly into the NBA. There you go. And those are the results from last night. I'm not going to go through all of them. You guys can check it out. I did them in the morning show. What I wanted to get into is what are the standings at the moment. And let's have a look at the standings in the West. So your Thunder, your reigning champions, still unbeaten 5-0. San Antonio Spurs 4-0. The only two teams that are unbeaten in the West. Interesting there. And then, of course, in the East, we also have two unbeaten teams. We have the Chicago Bulls and the Philadelphia 76ers that are unbeaten. At the bottom there, not looking good for the Brooklyn Nets and the Indiana Pacers. Look, of course, you're missing Tyrese Haliburton, Indiana, but come on, boys. Come on. And you did lose Miles Turner. I know that. But I expect a little bit more from Indiana, so I expect them to be moving up the table slowly but surely. Let's have a look at the stats. I put out all the stats at once. Points per game. Tyrese Maxey having a sensational season there for the Philadelphia 76ers. He's the top dog. He is averaging 37.5 points a game, followed by Giannis Antetokounmpo with 36.3. On the rebound front, you have Jokic in front. On the assist front, you have Jokic. Blocks per game, you obviously have Victor Wembanyama, almost averaging 5 blocks a game. There you go. The steals, Trey Jones with a lot of steals there. So check it out. Here's your East Player of the Week last week. This was voted in the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he got the East Player of the Week from the Milwaukee Bucks. And from the West, it had to be Victor Wembanyama. So congratulations to both of them. If you go onto our community page, I have got a poll out there. Who's the best European player of the season? Is it Victor Wembanyama? Is it Nikola Jokic? Is it Luka Doncic? Or is it Giannis Antetokounmpo? So take part in that poll. We move on. NHL. A lot of games in the NHL last night. I did them all in the morning show. Check them out. NHL starting to slowly but surely hot up now, even though they're playing on ice. But let's have a look at the tables in the NHL. Let's start off in the West. And the Utah Mammoth is on top of the Western Conference. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Followed by the Avalanche and my Las Vegas Golden Knights. Calgary Flames right at the bottom there, not doing too well in the West. Then in the East, the New Jersey Devils, it's got to be because of Nico Hischier, man. Captain of Switzerland as well. There you go. Pittsburgh Penguins, the Steelers, different sport. Montreal Canadiens, but at the bottom, the Islanders, the Bruins, and the Rangers. 3 iconic franchises. Not doing so well in the NHL at the moment. Let's have a look at the top goal scorers at the moment. And there you have Nathan MacKinnon. He's got 9 goals, the same as Jack Hughes and Cole Caulfield. And Pavel Dorofeyev. They've all got 9 goals so far this season. I kind of like to look at what the goalkeepers are doing. And Jonathan Quick, the man is quick, man. Got a quick hand there. Got the best save percentage in the NHL this year. Logan Thomas is up there. Dan Vladar. So, a lot of good goalkeepers. Not easy being a goalkeeper in the NHL. But a good goalkeeper can get you a long, long way, man. Chicago Blackhawks know about that when they had Ed Belfour. So that was that. Moving through the stuff nice and quickly. So now we've got to get into the motorsport, to the NASCAR. There you go. That is the 4 drivers that can still make it. That is going to be in Phoenix this weekend, the final race of the season, the playoffs. You can choose one of these 4 guys are going to make it. I've got a poll out for that as well in the community page, so check it out. I'm just going to introduce these boys a little bit to you guys. Just going to make sure I get all my... Where's my papers now? There you go. Got to get all my papers ready so I don't talk too much crap. So we'll start off with car 19. That is the car of Chase Briscoe. Now, Chase Briscoe is 31 years old. He comes from Indiana, and obviously he drives a Toyota because he's driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. I'll get into Joe Gibbs Racing a little bit later. Then we have car 24, iconic car. Used to be driven by Jeff Gordon, unbelievable driver, one of my favorite drivers of all time. Car 24, that's William Byron, comes from North Carolina. 28 years old, so he's the youngest driver out of the 4 that can win the championship. And he drives for Hendrick Motorsports, and we'll get into them afterwards as well. Then we move on. There you go. That's Mr. William Byron, if you're wondering how he looks. Then Danny Hamlin, been around the block for a long time. He's 45 years old and never won the championship. But one of the last tough men in the NASCAR. Yeah, you know, he doesn't shy away from crashing into somebody on purpose. He'll let the fist fly. I like Danny Hamlin. And he drives for Joe Gibbs Racing as well in a Toyota, 45 years old. And he is from Virginia. And never won a championship. And then we get into car 5. That is young man there, Kyle Larson. Put his picture out there. He has won a championship. He is a one-time NASCAR champion. He drives for Hendrick Motorsports as well. Comes from California. Kind of the Jimmy Johnson, the new Jimmy Johnson of the sport. But let me just get into some things here. I mean, funnily enough, we have 2 drivers from Joe Gibbs Racing and we have 2 drivers from Hendrick Motorsports. Hendrick Motorsports have won, let me tell you, there you go. Hendrick Motorsports have won 14 NASCAR titles, Joe Gibbs Racing 5. If you wondered who the all-time leading NASCAR champions are, 3 drivers have won 7 titles, kind of like in the Formula 1, Schumacher and Hamilton also. Everybody gets stuck on 7, no one gets to 8. Richard Petty, the king himself, 7 titles. Dale Earnhardt Sr., 7 titles. And of course, Jimmy Johnson, 7 titles there for Hendrick Motorsports. Only driver to win 5 in a row. I remember that. That's this era. Enjoyed that a lot. So that is your NASCAR. So let's see. We'll know on Monday morning. We will know who won the NASCAR championship this year. Then have a quick look at the college playoff situation at the moment. 12 teams make the playoffs this year. So that's your top 12. These teams would be in the playoffs if the playoffs were tomorrow. What I want to show you is this is the format for the college playoffs. 1 to 4 are going to have a bye in the first week. 5 to 12 will play the first round. Obviously 4 will get through there. Then we'd have the 4 on the bye, those 4, and then you have your quarterfinals, your semifinals, and your finals. But let's get back to the teams that are in at the moment. I mean, Ohio State still unbeaten, Indiana unbeaten, Texas A&M unbeaten. Then of course Alabama Crimson Tide at 7-1. You got the Georgia Bulldogs, the Oregon Ducks, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, BYU, Miami, and Notre Dame. Those are the teams that are in. Let's see who could still sneak in there. I'm giving these teams still a chance. You got Texas Tech, Tennessee, the Mountaineers, Virginia, Louisville, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas, Michigan, and Houston. I think those are the only teams that still got a theoretical chance, but they're going to have to start going unbeaten until the end of the season to make the playoffs there. So that is kind of the roundup for today. Want to go back to the city of Chicago and the city of and the state of Illinois, where have I got that? There you go. Remember, Springfield is the capital. If you get a little bit of geography down there, boys. And isn't that beautiful there? That waterfront there in Chicago. And and don't forget on the weekend. I mean, Chicago's going to be the center of the rugby world on the weekend, because the Irish are playing against the New Zealand All Blacks at Soldier Field on Saturday evening. So rugby's taking center stage in Chicago. Going to be very interesting. Don't forget the Rugby World Cup in 2031 is in the US. So they're trying to promote that. I guess New Zealand and South Africa are going to play in the US next year as well. But that's a story for another day. Then I just want to quickly update you on that's NBA betting stuff like that. I mean, the rumors are going on. There's going to be a lot more indictments coming down the road. I mean, what do they do? It's always the same story. They arrest 3 of them, the guys that they think are the most guilty, and then they flip them, and then those guys rat on everybody else, and then you have this big explosion of players and ex-players and ex-refs and everything come out. So we'll see it in the next 1 or 2 weeks. It's going to be very, very squeaky bum time there in the US to see who's all involved. I mean, There's a lot of channels throwing around names and stuff like that of superstars. We're not going to do that on this channel. We'll wait till the FBI officially announces who else they're going to arrest, and then you'll get that information here ASAP. Don't worry. But that was the Across the Pond this week, the ATP show. There you go. And hope you join us next week again. Don't forget, tonight there's still European basketball on the channel. Hapoel Tel Aviv against Partizan Belgrade, starting at 10 to 7 Central European time. And the morning show is back tomorrow morning. So you guys have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon.